We also worked with Oliver Lieber and Glenn Ballard and Rick Knowles.
And Billy Steinberg.
And Billy Steinberg.
It comes from a song that we wrote with Glenn Ballard. It's called The Queen of Hollywood, and it's just one line in it. We just like the sound of it. Talk on Corners.
It's, well, as Andrea said earlier, we learned an awful lot from performing on stage, and we felt that we needed to make our sound a much more edgier type sound, you know. So basically we made it slightly more guitar orientated, and you know, we were careful with all the sort of icing, to sort of keep the icing at bay in terms of keyboards and stuff. So it's a much harder, rockier, edgier sound, but it still maintains the very much the sound of the Corrs.
It's I suppose it's, yeah, it is definitely traditional, but it, I mean, the way we play tradition has always been our own way anyway. But I think it's progressed. It's like everything, you know. You can't not do a year of touring and not move on in everything that you do, like in traditional music and in rock and pop music. It has to. I suppose it just becomes more expressive because you're more expressive, because you're more natural, because you're less inhibited about what you do. So that just comes out in the music.
Well, they actually called us and asked us to do a song with them for their album, which was a collaboration of a lot of female artists. And so we went in to do a song with them, and we basically, it was John's idea to ask them to do a version of Little Wing with them, a kind of an Irish version of Little Wing. And it turned out fantastic. I mean, I think it was because the song that we did with them turned out so well, and the Chieftains are fantastic. I mean, they're such great musicians, and just sit down, we all sat around together and just played, that we wanted to do something else again with them, and Little Wing was the choice to do.
I think it's probably, I'd say, I mean, for most musicians, unless they're like studio musicians or people who are really into technology and stuff like that, I'd say it's like our first priority, because it's where you really, really reach your audience. It's where you really communicate with the audience. And I think as musicians, you have to love playing on stage. You just have to. It's great.
It's exactly where you learn, you know, everything. It's you know, when you, because you're seeing exactly what you're singing. You're seeing what it's doing to other people, and it just brings that more in you know. And I think that's, you know, then that goes to the studio, but it's where you learn.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's I think it's very important to be appreciated by your own country, especially for us since we're using a mixture of traditional Irish music, which belongs to the Irish people. But when you get in front of a crowd, that you know what people are like in Ireland, because you're Irish, you know what they're like, and when they're screaming and yelling and heckling at you and, you know, just having a good time, it's the best feeling in the world. It's really wonderful. But I mean, I'd have to say that for around the world as well. Anywhere where you get up on stage and people love your music is a wonderful feeling. Australia. That was amazing.
Yeah, because we got to tour Australia for a month, and we literally went everywhere. So that was a great kind of holiday plus touring every night, which was fantastic.
We actually, on quite a number of occasions, we managed to get standing ovations. We were on for about half an hour before Celine, and it was very unusual for a support band to receive a reaction like that from an audience, which we were delighted about. It was very educational for us, and plus, we, you know, to play in front of that many people, sometimes we were playing anything up to like 12,000 people, I think. So that was a fantastic educational experience.
It was quite daunting as well, because the first time we had gone from club gigs in Ireland, and the maximum I think we had was about 250, 300 people. And the first night we got on with Celine, it was 10,000 people in Glasgow, and that was frightening. It was really frightening, but we came through it. I mean, it's a great way of learning your trade very fast, when she just dumped in at the deep end, and she was very good to us to let us support her.
We did Sting. We shared a stage with Sting. We did this festival in London, and there was, who else was on?
I thought it was a fla. It was like the same thing as the one in New York. It was a fla, so there was
Van Morrison.
Chieftains, Van Morrison, loads of different people, but I mean, we were on after them, or before them. We've been on the stage with a lot of Irish artists, you know, at different occasions at home. We also toured with Michael Bolton for about 2 weeks in America last year, I think. Or maybe it was actually a month with Michael Bolton.